Okay. Connection. I just can't make my connection. Okay, and
Oh, shall I turn it off?
yes, please.
Hello, readers and friends. Today is Wednesday, May 18th, 2022, and thank you for joining us. So, we're a little late this morning, but that's fine. My friend Fred left on Monday to bike across along the northern part of the country, over the Sierras, across the Continental Divide, then on to the East Coast. We had coffee a couple of months ago, and he casually mentioned this desire of his. I'm always supportive of people, especially as we get older, think we're too old, who can state a desire and work towards making it come true. When I asked Fred why he was doing this, I felt his discomfort in telling me that I might somehow feel he was being silly, unrealistic, doing something that was too dangerous, too scary, that something terrible could go wrong. Self-consciously, he said, I'm 69 years old. If not now, when? Indeed. I was beyond ecstatic for him. Knowing Fred, I can say for certainty that he weighed all the pros and cons, tallied all the reasons why he shouldn't do this, and came up with, if not now, when? Excitedly, he explained a tradition for bicyclists making a coast-to-coast trip. Depending on which coast you're starting from, in Fred's case, he's starting in California, a few days before his start day, he dipped his back tire in the Pacific Ocean. And when he gets to do the East Coast sometime in late August, he'll dip his front tire in the Atlantic. I love hearing stories from people I know who are pushing themselves further than they thought, letting go of fears, of embarrassment, of the poo-poos of friends and family. As a culture, I believe we're more prone to celebrate and encourage academic achievements. Not that this is not an achievement. My friend Linda is traveling to Little Rock, Arkansas later this week. Her youngest son is graduating with honors from the University of Kansas Medical School. What an accomplishment. I, with my 6 degrees of separation, am so proud of him. Some of us have that little yearning that nudges us, a Mardi Gras bacchanal scene, or it may be a particular scent. One friend says for her it's the smell of the ocean spray in Maui. Other of us may have that visceral taste memory. For me, it's a jambon beurre, one of the most popular French sandwiches. It's made on a whole baguette spread with butter and filled with thin slices of ham. There's nothing like the mess it makes, the flaky baguette all over the front of you, no matter how many napkins you have. Many of my Hispanic friends make dozens of tamales during the holidays. There's a line of helpers, generations of family, friends, and neighbors. It's fun, and the sense of preserving a tradition is paramount. A particular piece of music, a line of poetry, a movie scene, reading a great incident from a book can bring us to our knees with its beauty and truth. And these moments can nudge gently or shake us in such a huge way that we can't let go of that little something we've always wanted to do, explore, participate in, experience. Pushing the envelope brings us just a little closer to the edge where it's scary and uncertain. It's like the universe is giving us a personal "I dare you," or better yet, if not now, when? John Steinbeck was 58 years old when he bought a GMC truck and fitted it with a camper and a 10-year-old French poodle, Charlie, to travel across America, resulting in the great book, Travels with Charlie. Alice Milliat, a French rower, was a key advocate for organized women's sports. At age 44, her lobbying led to the inclusion of women's athletics in the Olympics in 1928, and it kicked off a global dialogue about women's representation in a broader range of sports, which still continues today. Chilean Gabrielle Mistral began her career as a teacher who championed greater access to education for all and reformed her country's school system. At age 56, she was the first Latin American to receive the Nobel Prize for Literature for her emotive lyric poetry, which explored themes of morality, motherhood, love, and the Latin American identity. In 1975, when she was 36 years old, Japanese mountaineer Junko Tabe became the first woman to reach the summit of Mount Everest. And in the 1990s, she was the first woman to climb all 7 summits, the highest peaks on every continent. Junko had an asteroid named after her, 6897 Tabe. And in 2019, a mountain range on Pluto was named Tabe Montes in her honor. And despite her incredible achievements, she received widespread criticism for leaving her young daughter at home when heading off as part of the first all-female climbing crew. Actress turned activist Rose McGowan took a stand and spoke out against her sexual abuser Harvey Weinstein. Her example empowered other women to share their stories, leading to the era of Me Too. Wangari Maathai was a Kenyan social, environmental, and political activist who founded the Green Belt movement, which campaigned for the planting of trees, environmental conservation, and women's rights. In 2004, at age 64, she became the first African woman to receive the Nobel Peace Prize for contribution to sustainable development and democracy. In 1926, French designer Coco Chanel, at age 43, wanted to create a garment that had 2 purposes. One, it was to be available to the widest possible market, and 2, she wanted to revolutionize how the female body looked in clothes by stripping away layers and corsets, highlighting the natural shape of a woman. Her iconic LBD, or little black dress, was thus created. It remains a design classic a century later. I know that many of us have at least one LBD in our wardrobe. In 1915, Hugo Junkers, a German aircraft engineer and designer, was 56 years old when he created the world's first passenger aircraft. He pioneered all-metal planes and flying wings and made travel around the world so much more possible. When the Nazis came into power in 1933, they requested Junkers participate in the German rearmament. When he declined, the Nazis responded by demanding ownership of all of his patents and market shares. In 1934, Junkers was placed under house arrest and died in 1935. In 1955, a tired 42-year-old Rosa Parks was commuting home by bus after a long day at work, and she just would not give up her seat for a white man, leading to the Montgomery bus boycott. Rosa showed what ordinary people can do when they stick fast to their beliefs in testing conditions. Anne Frank was 13 years old in 1942 when her family and a few others went into hiding. She was an ordinary teenage girl, but through her diary she became a symbol of how ordinary people can get caught up in man's inhumanity. Despite the life she and her family were living, Anne retained an optimistic spirit. She wrote, "In spite of everything, I still believe that people are still good at heart." In 1954, Britisher Roger Bannister, age 25, broke the 4-minute mile barrier, running that distance in 3 minutes and 59 seconds. He smashed the long-held belief that that feat was physically impossible. As of April 2021, the 4-minute barrier has been broken by 1,663 athletes and is now a standard of for professional middle distance runners. And locally, Audrey Stanley, who died earlier this year, was a visionary, founder, mentor, and artist. She was the first woman to direct a Shakespeare play at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival in 1975, the first PhD in dramatic art from UC Berkeley, and the first professor appointed to the theater arts at UCSC. She shattered barriers for women. She was a tireless creator. Shakespeare Santa Cruz, our much-loved festival, is part of her legacy. I don't know if any of you remember when I first started doing these chats last August. AC and I whittled down from 5 days a week to 3 days, and now to a much more manageable Wednesday show. This process pushed all my triggers. Who do I think I am? Who's going to listen? Why would they listen? Me, I'm just a writer in my sunlit eyrie, falling in love with the Scottish Highlands, or getting involved with my characters in Walkerville. Making myself big is not my idea of a good time. I would just as soon stay hidden writing rather than saying, "Here I am, folks." Pushing the envelope doesn't mean to just mail it in. It means to suppress normal limits or attempt something viewed as radical or risky. It comes from the aeronautical use of envelope, referring to performance limits that cannot be exceeded safely. Exceed safety. Be that point person. Be the trailblazer. Go to the limit. Be the pioneer. Forge ahead. Go to the front of the line. Do not stop. I know without a doubt that every one of us has pushed that envelope in our lives at one time or another. Silently or out loud, we move forward in our evolution, sometimes slowly, sometimes in a blink of an eye, making a decision that forever changes our lives. This forward movement within creates a change in all areas of our lives and touches everyone we meet. Thank you. Thank you for being part of these Wednesdays with me. It matters to us, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. There's information in the description about how to send me a note, or just leave a comment on the video here if you'd rather. AC will make sure I see it. And speaking of AC, old broadcaster that he is, he says he really wants to build an audience here. And now that I'm back on my feet, so if you could just pass this link along to one new person you think would like to join us, I know he'd appreciate it. And of course, remember that YouTube counts everything. It helps us a lot if you give this video a thumbs up and click the red subscribe button. You know we always welcome new readers as well. A personal recommendation from a friend is the best introduction to a writer. Please help us spread the word. As always, the address of my Amazon page is in the description below. All the Walkerville books are available to purchase in both Kindle and print editions. You'll find the direct link for next Wednesday's live chat there as well. Hope to see you then. And again, thanks for joining us and have a great rest of the day.